Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another exciting Propagandacast with me, your host, Imperial Dane. And today I have for you a 2 versus 2 on Lorraine. Yes, indeed, Lorraine. So returning quickly to the 2 versus 2s, because, well, I thought this was an interesting one. At least had some nice bits, some unusual bits, I think. Although then again, I mean, I might have missed all the less unusual bits as... well, usual. Oh dear, that's a lot of usual. My apologies, but nonetheless, 2 versus 2. Lorraine in the Alsace-Lorraine region, which was one of the major scenes of fighting during the later stages. In fact, during the late 1944, struck by the Battle of the Bulge. Some fighting took place shortly after that in what was known as the Sylvester campaigns, or New Year's Eve campaigns, as the Germans, in an attempt to sort of exploit the fact that all the Americans and Allies were basically up, you know, in the Ardennes. Then they figured, well, we'll attack down there in the south, and they sort of not achieve much, but except losing some more men, rattling up some other American units, and stealing some tanks. So we shall be seeing fighting right here in the north. We will be having, if you can get there, MyMartin and prisoners of the Americans, 30th Infantry Division, facing off against Britishking. Well, that's already a bit off there. And Rommelslayer. So Rommelslayer, perhaps he was the one who actually killed Rommel. Who knows? But nonetheless, there they are. Two very paradoxical British named for the Wehrmacht of the 21st Panzer Division, which was one of the few divisions that did fight down there, which had actually any sort of armor. So quite interesting that already. And of course, Lorraine, rather urban, rather tense, rather sort of victory points each with their own sort of locality. The southern and northern ones, the more easily defendable ones, but at the same time farthest away from the bases. So of course that creates some issues. And of course the center one, a lot easier to get to, but also a lot harder to hold. A lot of approaches and not a lot of buildings actually holding it. Able to cover it in this. There's this one, this postal office, but sort of a nice blind angle right there. So of course that's very important to note. But let us not muck about. Let's in fact get right down to it, to the action, Wehrmacht quarters going up for both sides. What shall be Rommelslayer doing? Shall he be putting it down? No, his pioneers heading onwards, apparently waiting for the second pioneer team to do the dirty deeds, or what? Apparently. There we go, pioneer team number 2 ready for the Americans. Barracks up. Nothing else for the second chap, or what? What's he up to? Ah, he's going to build on his teammates' area. Not unusual. He's steady, so he's going for the weapon support center. Of course, you rarely see actually players sort of going for the edges at the ally space to sort of get like this, but of course he's probably having a strategy of rather supporting his teammate, perhaps using the weapon support center, which of course is being set up. So right there, of course, we are going to see one sort of American combo. We'll of course have to see how that exactly is going to work out. Wehrmacht quarters flashing, pioneers heading out, other pioneers heading out, apparently still no. Wehrmacht quarters for Rommelslayer, actually, rather interesting. Lots of pioneers, 4 pioneers actually. Bit of a pioneer heavy start. Question is, of course, what will he be doing with all of those pioneers? Something pioneer-esque? No, more pioneers, Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, this is already a bit of an awkward start. And of course, he's not facing any British commanders. The question is, of course, what he's sort of trying to achieve, except just seizing a lot of territory right off the bat, of course. But question is, of course, how long will he then be able to hold on? And of course, will he actually be able to hold all that territory which he's seizing, of course, in the face of an American? But then again, he has some minor luck in that one of them has gone for weapon support, and of course will be less active on the offense. Although, if the other chap, prisoners, goes after Rommelslayer is going to be rather in a bit of trouble. Engineers heading southwards, running into an MG42 from the other bit. So far, it looks like Rommelslayer is representing the Panzer Division, which is basically the pioneer equivalent of the Panzer Grenadiers, I suppose, as you might have sort of guessed. But they were to pioneers what Panzer Grenadiers are to Grenadiers, so pretty tough pioneers, but of course not really here though. Pioneers opening up, riflemen charging right at these pioneers. Some of them are in heavy cover, others not. Probably will the riflemen win this? Yes, indeed. And there we go, pioneers already not doing too well, trying to lay down a bunker also, and perhaps he's trying to lay down a medic bunker, of course, this early, sort of get his infantry that way, but again, not really able to hold the line. There we go, other pioneers taking quite a beating. Bunker is up, so protected from the evils of the riflemen. But in the north, of course, engineers pushing forwards, and those could easily overpower what few pioneers are there. Other pioneers moving in, trying to overpower the riflemen, and they do so indeed. Heavy machine gun sitting up in the postal office, ready to deliver a special delivery of lead of the 30 caliber kind. There we go, firing off. And another heavy machine gun heading northwards to protect whatever's there and perhaps seize it. In the meanwhile, Britishking is sort of kinging about in the south. Some Volkskrone is also hanging about, but not doing much with them, not trying to alleviate the situation in the center, perhaps counterattack. But then again, he's already perhaps seen the heavy weapons bit there with the heavy machine gun, and of course might not be so keen on charging. And of course, Rommelslayer going straight for the creek barracks, and of course that might be a reason going for a lot of pioneers. Is perhaps hoping to get a mortar to sort of bombard the area and clear it out there. And of course, clever chap that MyMartin is, immediately wires off this area to at least make it a bit harder to sort of move out and get the blind spot. So not a bad move there. 30 caliber covering the north. Britishking holding the south, but he's not going for much else. What is he going for? Going for the skirmish phase perhaps, and he's going for something from the Wehrmacht quarters. What shall it be? What shall it be? Oh, the excitement. A sniper Scharfschütze ready there with his little cap. Pioneers heading northwards. And getting grenadiers. Rommelslayer is, while still retaining a lot of pioneers, hiding up in some buildings, and engineers with flamethrowers advancing. These pioneers shall get very, very warm tonight. Medic bunker growing up, and pioneers doing in for a bit of harassment, but engineers with flamethrowers moving in to counter that harassment. But they won't be able to take that point, but they might be able to cut it off, so that's certainly not a bad move. And mortar rounds flying. My goodness, the American has gotten a mortar of his own. Sniper opens up immediately, getting one mortar crewman. Oh dear, we'll have to retreat. In the meanwhile, pioneers are forced to retreat. Retreating on all sides. Wehrmacht forces from the south advancing. And this, no, the mortar team did not retreat. Oh dear. In the meanwhile, the pioneers are running straight in front of the 30 caliber machine gun and are getting gunned down. My goodness, riflemen are charging in. The sniper will be having a bit of trouble in handling that and will be retreating. Other pioneers, my goodness, Rommelslayer is just losing pioneers. No, not the Pionieren. Volkskrone facing off against the riflemen. Not too good, but already we are seeing a slightly curious tactics here, or strategies, I suppose, in a sense, but again, not what you'd be surprised to see against the British. But here in the 2 versus 2, then again, he probably can get away with it a bit more due to the sort of mechanics of 2 versus 2 games, where you can't get away with it being at least slightly more passive for a certain amount of time. Although then again, perhaps had both opponents gone for riflemen, things would have looked a lot grimmer. But then again, Rommelslayer had the absolute ridiculous luck of getting an opponent who went for weapon support. By Joe. Getting there, the mortar team. Medic bunker getting burned, although close to getting a fully reconstituted team. Pioneers getting pulled in, grenadiers and Volkskrone and pioneers with flamethrowers charging. Burning riflemen who are getting BARs at the very same moment, but they are right in the middle of all of this, getting gunned down. Oh, the inhumanity. Oh, well, not quite. Riflemen advancing from the north, getting the drop on all those chaps down there. Sniper also advancing. And looks like the Americans are cutting through here. Very bold, very aggressive. And let us go have a look at Britishking. British or Peking, I suppose, if you were to be really nasty. And looks like he's, well, he doesn't really have a lot of units otherwise, Mr. Britishking. I mean, he has the sniper, some MGs and all that, but not an awful lot. Otherwise, nothing that can really face the fight. Mortar recruit and a medic station going up right there. Jolly good show. Mortar immediately beginning to bombard this area, and Rommelslayer's pioneers has to be careful lest they get blown to bits. Of course, the rest of the troops also have to be. Rommelslayer's Panzer Grenadier of the 21st continuing to advance. And there we go. Riflemen suppressed by the MG42. Very nice job there. Some getting killed. Others running away. And there we go. Engineers recovering what they can currently, though the advantage is clearly to the 30th Infantry Division. Sturmarmy going up for Britishking. T3 me, of course, I forgot to mention, but Rommelslayer all sort of totally going heavily for the tier 2. So probably, and there's no need to say, well, I'm going tier 3, because he's probably Rommelslayer's probably expecting Britishking not to go for it, of course. Again, sort of try to ensure you have your own anti-tank assets. That's always a good rule of thumb. And that can be a bit of a problem as you go for these sort of jump for tiers. But again, in the hand of someone competent, it won't necessarily help like that. Grenadiers advancing. Engineers inside with a flamethrower, but getting quite hit a bit actually. Rommelslayer's mortar is a bit damaged. Grenadiers getting burned, and looks like a path has been opened up through here by the virtue of the Grenadieren. Medics pulling in the wounded, or at least they're trying to. Engineers hiding in there. And over there, the MG42 is getting a very crispy surprise. Looks like Grenadiers are trying to make a breakthrough, hunting down a medic, and looks like a riflemen have broken through in the south, or at least, well, not as much broken through as rather discovered. There's not really much stopping them from taking what is there. So there you go. More than a breaking and entering into a shop where you rather realise the front door hasn't been locked. And snipers on the field. God, I hate snipers. Where the Grenadiers getting sniped. Suppressed by the 30 caliber, and again, the 30 caliber machine gun, while some people think, well, if it isn't as good as the MG42, then it must be rubbish. It's not. It's just not as good as suppressing, though it does more damage and can still do a decent job of suppressing. So don't underestimate it, Grenadiers. Oh, charging right into BARs. That's what you call a bad thing. But Pioneers, that's not going to do much. Volksgrenadiers, oh, getting slaughtered. Oh, the horror. And looks like a Sonderkraftfahrzeug 234 has arrived. Heavy armored car, schwerer Panzer Spähwagen charging right at the mortar team, opening up, once more clearing up the mortar team. Second mortar team in that spot, knocked out. Reitman charging forwards. Will they be sticky bombs? What would they have? In fact, and rather interesting to note, he only has those 4 infantry teams. Well, only 3, no, 4, with BARs and other bits, but oh, wait, there we go. No, MyMartin, and of course that's something I just briefly paused to explain that. I mean, when some players go for a support role, they'll usually, in some cases, or most cases, in fact, sort of rely on elite infantry, mostly Americans, though, either in the form of Rangers or in the form of airborne to sort of conform to the infantry role. And of course it is more expensive, but they do have their slight advantages. But again, as a general rule, always ensure you have some minimum amount of infantry. 2 is the bare minimum, 3 is the preferred minimum. Anything above that, jolly good show. Of course, that doesn't mean you should blob up like some Soviet commander, but again, good infantry force is quite vital, and of course, good infantry tactics just as vital. Let's return to the fight. Grenadiers getting ready and heading northwards, some with Panzerix expecting American armor, of course. Not entirely unexpected. Again, one has gone for weapon support, and it is not unusual for such commanders to go for a motor pool or perhaps a tank depot in such cases as these. Of course, you probably shouldn't be expecting it from prisoners who has gone for BARs and all that, but from the other chap at right, I think we might have seen a slight communication error. Both has gone for airborne, and in that case, the airborne got absolutely slaughtered, dead on arrival. Well, almost dead, sort of counts. But again, I mean, you usually want to communicate also in terms of doctrine, and generally, as a rule of thumb, you don't want to both be playing as the same doctrine. Yes, I know, you might be thinking, well, we get more airborne, we get more strafing runs, but then you also might have to be figuring, well, we don't get mortars, you know, I mean, Howitzers, we don't get Rangers, we don't get off-map combat groups, or Calliopes, or Pershings. I mean, really, it can't really funnel you in, instead of giving you a more sort of broad fan of strategic and tactical tools at your disposal. Airborne charging at the Grenadiers. Grenadiers holding the line. Recoilless rifles blowing one Grenadier to bits. Oh no! No, wait, no, he didn't get blown to bits, just blown into the ground. And the heavy armored cars leading the charge while Grenadiers follow up with some false Grenadiers. No, more Grenadiers, just lots of Grenadiers for Rommelslayer. Just emptying the Panzer Grenadier company, or at least of some battalions. Another armored car. Looks like Britishking is going a bit too excessively without having any anti-tank assets. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Be careful with that, Britishking. You can end up being a very king of nothing. There we go. Tank depot going up for MyMartin. That's certainly going to be quite useful against the heavy armored cars. Of course, question is, what will he be going for? Will he be going for M10s or will he be going for Shermans? Shermans will certainly have the advantage both against the Pumas, or heavy armored cars, whatever you would like to call them, but also the infantry. So I mean, a Sherman would be a really... no, M10. I mean, question is, of course, does he just want the tank destroyer, or is he sort of one of those unfortunate souls that seem to think, well, it has the name tank in it, clearly it must act like a tank, rather than, you know, figuring, well, tank destroyer, perhaps it has a more specific role. And looks like stormtroopers have arrived from the Rommelslayer. Sturmtruppen, and this is the sort of news gun again. Nice and dandy. The most elite Panzer Grenadiers of the division, or possibly just Panzer Grenadiers from the 17th SS, were also one of the few other sort of Panzer Grenadiers or Panzer divisions fighting in the area. Mind you, they weren't quite good. They had a lot of competence problems. But stormtroopers arriving, popping in right there. Not a bad. 2 windows. Not bad, I suppose, considering those are stormtroopers. And airborne standing about in the open, getting gunned down. The Sturmtruppen securing victory for the Fatherland. And Grenadiers running straight at them. Quite a nasty bits of Panzer Grenadiers and SS Panzer Grenadiers, making things hard for those airborne of the 82nd. Looks like the entire 82nd might be called in. And there we go. Tank destroyer M10 Wolverine. No M18 though. That would be nice. And the mortar has been exposed and is now getting burned out of its kraut rat hole. Will it be able to escape? And will the Americans seize the mortar? Carb mortar? Something. No, he's running away. Perhaps he's just frightened at the sight of the mighty German mortar, or perhaps he's just forgetting that, hey, wait, it could be good for us. In the meanwhile, riflemen sticky bombing a heavy armored car, but getting torn to bits right in front of the Puma. That's what you call a bit. Oh, running straight into the MG42. Bad luck. And stormtroopers now with veterancy 2. Good show. And running away. Not so good show. Mortar has not been recruited. In fact, there looks to be a complete lack of mortars on both sides, despite fully functional mortars being present. MG42 opening up with a bit of sniper support. Engineer flamethrower tanks bursts into fire as they get hit. And what is the M10 doing? I need to stop casting bad games. Well, I don't need to. I mean, I'd like to, but you know, sometimes bad games, you know, have their own merits. But you know, there you go. And of course, note I can't respond while I'm making a cast or watching a replay. It's rather simple as that. So again, if I'm not responding, it's probably because, you know, well, I'm watching a replay or casting. And what is this? Geschützwagen of the 21st Panzer Division fits in, although I'm not entirely sure the 21st Panzer Division would have been anyone remaining at this stage of the fight, of the war. By late 1944, most of them probably would have been knocked out in Normandy, but let's just imagine that some actually made their way out of there, or they just made more. And of course, nice tank crew again, sort of again courtesy of half-track. Very nice, very nice. You can even see sort of the epaulettes, whatever they call it, sort of things on their shoulders, shoulder boards, which are pink, which actually were the tank Panzerwaffen's sort of shoulder board color. That was pink, and then they had a nice death-head skull, which sadly got them confused by the Soviets as SS, which was rather unfortunate since the Soviets hated the SS with a passion. Well, M10 got knocked out. Geschützwagen on the 4. No upgrades for it, though. Get it veterancy 2, and its machine gun will actually be functional. MG 30 cal machine gun knocked out. Americans are being pushed out of the fight. It's the Wehrmacht pushing onwards. The 21st showing its best. Heavy armor cars leading the charge. Not a lot of infantry, though, for Mr. Britishking, which I can't help but feel is a bit sad. He really needs infantry again. Always ensure you have some infantry. Medic station almost ready, and the armored car gets covered in sticky bombs. A little present from the American armed forces, immobilized right out in the middle of everything. Snipers ready, anti-tank gun popping in for a drop and say hello. Grenades getting lobbed right here up in the north at the engineers and airborne. Airborne, ignore it. Grenadiers finding themselves in a slightly unfortunate situation. And one Puma goes kaboom. Another one looks like it might. Yes, there we go. 2 heavy armored cars lost to the Wehrmacht, to the 21st Panzer Division. Ausklärungsabteilung. Snipers getting ready. Airborne and engineers forcing away Rommelslayer's forces, but a Su-42 stormtroopers and some grenadiers moving in to counterattack, forcing everything to get the devil out of there. Quite a solid combination of firepower. And let us go have a look at prisoners, who has gone for the motor pool of his own. A supply yard, but interestingly enough, no upgrades for them either way. And a strafing run pinning down the stormtroopers and grenadiers. Oh dear. Giving the airborne ample time to retreat, although this Su-42, of course, isn't rather bothered by that. Snipers advancing. Or at least one is covered by the other sniper. And what is going on? Greyhound charging forwards in the south, knocking out a pioneer team. Mine down by Britishking, though. Will the M8 hit it? Support my Stu. Very well. Always good to sort of communicate at least what you're sort of expecting in some cases. I mean, it's nice if your opponent can sort of, your teammate can divine it. But other times it's just good to sort of, you know, verbally tell your opponent, yes, could you kindly cover my armor assets while I'm moving them in to support you, you know? Would be nice. Clearing out this MG42, which is taking up in this nice French summer residence, or at least it was a nice residence until it got blown up. There we go, cleared out. Sherman on the move though, and this Su-42, despite having a 105mm howitzer gun, doesn't quite have the armor-piercing shells to actually deal with the Sherman. Moving through the barbed wire, and we hear the howling of the Nebelwerfer screaming away. Not achieving what I'd describe as an awful lot though. And the M8 moving in from the south. 5 kills already, veterans. 1 rifleman advancing, perhaps hoping to drop a sticky bomb present. on the Stu-42 Sturmhaubitze. MG-42 catching all of these riflemen. Stu-42 moving in to close the deal. Sniper standing ready, opening up. And M8 and Sherman moving in on the MG-42. Will they get the kill? Will the MG-42 make it out? Will the snipers make it out of there? Pak-38 now opening up in support, but it will get outflanked. Oh dear. Sherman M8 on the move. The Pak-38 is in a bit of trouble. And the Sherman just continues. What is it doing? My goodness. Oh, wait. It was very close to crashing that sniper. M8 flanking about. MG-42 killed. And the Pak-38. Oh dear, but these riflemen need to retreat. Dropping grenades. That's a bit foolish. And the Sherman just continuing right into the base, but the Geschützwagen with its Pak-40 gun opens up. Another Geschützwagen arrives. Geschützwagens for everyone except Rommelslayer and all the others. So there we go. Sherman cleared out. Be wary of the Pak-40, an excellent anti-tank gun. And main gun destroyed. But the Nebelwerfer fires away and the American anti-tank gun. Get away, anti-tank gun. Get away. In the meanwhile, Allied forces of MyMartin charging forwards in the north. In the south, engineers taking what they can, securing most of the territory for the American effort. In the meanwhile, airborne are getting dropped in. Yes, more airborne.
Airdrop resources now.
Borne by air into the field of battle. And looks like a grenadier assault from Rommelslayer, getting a few riflemen. Anti-tank gun conspicuously exposed. And quite a bit of artillery right there, making me suspect that our friend Mr. Britishking has gone for terror, since that's rather an intended rocket attack and there's no Nebelwerfer nearby. And that was an awfully short grenade. You managed nothing. No. Damn you, hiccups. Damn you.
You're losing a sector.
Airborne opening up on the grenadiers. Oh, come on. And an assault going in from the grenadiers. Opening up on the airborne. Will the airborne? They charge ahead. Heedless of the danger of doing so right at the grenadiers. The grenadiers just chuck grenades right into their own midst. And they stun the airborne though and then get sniped. Oh, I do loathe snipers. Always have. Always will. Until they sort of, I don't know, make them more sniperish rather than invisible Jedi warriors with sniper rifles. And Geschützwagen getting ready. Stu-42 advancing once more with 12 kills to its name. Sniper also ready. And Grenadiers retreating in the face of all this hostility. Something getting dropped, and lots of machine guns and mortars will probably be littering this chap's space as usual. Always found that a bit odd. Stu-42 advancing against the anti-tank gun, and in a nice effort clears it out utterly. And what are the American friends up to? Apparently no further armor. Always found that a bit odd, you know, go for some armor and then sort of forget all about it. And Geschützwagen finding itself in a slightly disadvantaged situation, but another Geschützwagen does have its back covered. And the M8 will soon find it that no one has its back covered. There we go, out of control and into the fence. Engineers sort of trying to scorch the crew, but sadly there's no such things as crews being able to be scorched or top armor. Otherwise that would actually be pretty dandy. Would certainly also make the M10s more and M18s more vulnerable though, since they would also be suffering from it, but still could have been a fun thing to see. And the crew is having a nice bonfire, although they're curiously wondering if they should actually extinguish the fire in their Geschützwagen.
Being taken by the enemy.
And I do believe it is time for the mid-game analysis. Hurrah! And the viewers go wild, or at least I don't know. So what is the situation? Well, currently the Americans are holding most of the map, but the 21st Panzer Division pushes on relentlessly, and the Americans are suffering quite a bit. In particular, prisoners have suffered horrendously, down to only 3 teams, while MyMartin is doing somewhat better, but still not too much better, certainly having lost a bit of armor in some rather wasteful clashes. I can't help but feel the Geschützwagen certainly proving to be quite the threat. And of course the fact that they both gone for the same doctrine isn't really helping them either. So that of course is vital to note. So of course question is, what will they do? And how will they do it? Of course things are looking a bit easier despite not holding most of the map for our friends in the 21st. They certainly have somewhat more units, although again I'd rather like if Mr. Britishking actually went for some actual infantry. But Rommelslayer certainly is pushing the effort. Quite a few grenadiers, stormtroopers, all the other fun chaps from the neighborhood advancing, although looks like, oh dear, the stormtroopers were lost. They were heroes. They shall be remembered. But let's return to the fight. And some riflemen getting scorched, oh dear.
They have 200 points left.
Grenadiers opening up. And Stu 42 taking hits to the front. Riflemen advancing, Grenadiers opening up, and my apologies for the sightings, I slightly got disoriented by some suddenly sharp lights. Riflemen opening up, and the Grenadiers, who are veterans of 3 now, giving them extra health, and a grenade goes off, though, killing one. Riflemen getting torn to bits by assault grenades. Grenadiers apparently having filled their pouches with grenades instead of food, and possibly gas masks. And looks like snipers are not looking too happy, but he's going for 3 snipers. That's over 1,000 manpower again. I mean, I'm not the hugest fan of snipers, and of course I'll say everything to see less of them, but at the same time 3 snipers is excessive. 2 is alright, certainly, but 3, yeah, that's crippling yourself too much. But these Grenadiers, and of course one thing to note, veterancy 2 Grenadiers and above any unit basically with elite armor is easier for snipers to hit. Very important thing to note.
We have aerial recon capabilities.
And Pioneers clearing out some engineers, both with flamethrowers it seems. Ostwind now advancing. Apparently Rommelslayer has called upon the flak panzer assets of the 21st, and it is advancing. And looks like Britishking is securing the south. Oh dear, it's time to look at, well, Rommelslayer actually. But bunker is up, or going up. MG42 there with some veterancy. No further veterancy for the Geschützwagons though. And what further armor assets shall be called in for the Reich by Rommelslayer? Shall there be any Panzer Force? No, apparently some replacement stormtroopers will replace the poor chaps who were lost, although looks like Rommelslayers also look lacking grenadiers, but that's probably due to the snipers killing them again. Nebelwerfer is advancing, pushed forwards by their noble and heroic crews. We immediately begin opening up on the Allied position right here in the center, who are also awfully clumped up, making themselves very nice and easy targets. Airborne advancing with a target in mind, charging up before they actually get there and running straight into the MG bunker and getting suppressed. That's usually what you'd call counterproductive. But looking to knock out that Nebelwerfer with their recoil disruptors. Will they get suppressed before that pinned? Yes, indeed, one team pinned. Only one team more to go. The bunker keeps firing, and it pins both of them. Quite unfortunate there. Geschütz. Oh dear, riflemen advancing from the south, getting the drop on the Geschützwagen. A few sticky bombs. Oh dear, not the Geschützwagen. And airborne now continuing to charge in. Stormtroopers and Pioneers advancing. A few sticky bombs did go off on the Geschützwagen, but didn't do much damage. But airborne have penetrated the line behind the bunker. Drop a satchel charge, but they need to get away from it. Get away from the bunker. There we go. Cleared out. Cleared out, my goodness, and rifle knocking out a Puma, at least damaging, immobilizing it somewhat. This is rather looking to get very dicey for Britishking, who is of course lacking in infantry again. Very little infantry. No, wait, I can't see. That's Rommelslayer, who still has his grenadier team though, and securing the north though and the south. So currently once more stabilized in the favor of the Wehrmacht. Very odd combination to see head northwards. I mean, an anti-tank gun supported only by snipers. That seems a bit asking to lose something. Anti-tank gun damages the gun, and Grenadiers moving in to clear it out, gets sniped. But still, the anti-tank gun is clear, and the Ostwind moves in to clear up any stragglers or the snipers if it can find them. But another anti-tank gun is on the spot. Dropped in, but it is too late, and the Ostwind immediately begins clearing it out. Like it was just another aircraft from above. There we go. Ooh, there's even Simulate on it, or at least sort of simulate. And for those wondering, let's just briefly pause to sort of explain it. You see those sort of grooves right beside it? Well, that was Simulate. It was basically an anti-magnetic mine coating or paste applied to tanks, since the Germans were sort of worrying that the Allies might be trying to apply magnetic mines to the tanks, and they knew that would help sort of The thing was, though, that later on they sort of realized that, well, the only ones really using magnetic mines were the Germans themselves. So they sort of stopped applying it. But let's go have a look at Britishking, who has several Geschützwagens, Pumas, Sniper, Pioneers, but absolutely no bloody infantry. I've been taking quite a beating. Ostwind getting away, Sniper sort of watching, cursing at it. Damn that Ostwind, damn it, to hell. But nonetheless, tank depot now up for prisoners as well. Although rather interestingly, MyMartin has absolutely ceased using it. But the Ostwind now caught out in the open by the recoilless rifles. The revenge of the recoilless. The Ostwind makes a hurried escape behind some buildings, and away it goes. While a Panzer IV has arrived from the Panzer Regiment of the 21st Panzer Division, well, one of the Panzer regiments. No, that was the Panzer Regiment, yes, sorry. I always get a bit confused at times about organization things. Anti-tank guns getting recruited and opening up on the Stu-42, forcing it away. And heavy machine gun standing up right there. Might want to continue advancing. Yes, there we go. This could make things rather hazardous for the forces of the 21st to counter-attack in. Grenadier team reformed from the bunker. Good show. Advancing into the center, but the Nebelwerfers are howling right into the center. Suppressing and pinning, absolutely marvelous. And meanwhile, the Americans are clearing out the Pioneers, and the Stu-42 is looking to make a hurried getaway. While further Grenadiers and Pioneers moving in, no Knights crossholders for Rommelslayer. Panzer IV getting away. And meanwhile, a successful attack by Britishking has secured the center, but the question is for how long. Puma's opening up, blasting away. Riflemen getting cut down. And I can't help but wonder that feel that these anti-tank guns are rather badly dispositioned. They're sort of both awfully close, and they're sort of both pointing in the exact same direction. What could this mean? Well, if we sort of figured that Rommelslayer was the sort of cheeky, aggressive kind, he might sort of try to launch an attack from the south and get those anti-tank guns from the rear. You know, just sort of casually, I might say that. Sherman hasn't been salvaged though for munitions. Very bad. You should always try to salvage, and still absolutely no bloody infantry from Britishking. Quite, my apologies. Fraps just decided it wanted to be cheeky and lower the frame rate. Panzer IV advancing into the center. M10 nearby, having taken already quite a beating. Nebelwerfers blasting everything into a smoldering inferno in the center. Ostwind and Panzer IV advancing. And a strafing run right at this massive German concentration, but it didn't even do any damage. Well, barely. It just pinned them down. The miracles of elite armor and other bits, I suppose. And a satchel charge on the bunker, though not completely knocking it out. And the airborne are now finding themselves in the slightly unfortunate situation of facing a series of assault troopers or stormtroopers with assault rifles, and the trouble is they pissed them off. So the airborne are looking to get cleared out, and another strafing run. My goodness, that's quite a bit of munitions on a very simple thing, and the airborne didn't make it out even. M10 advancing, damaging the Pumas, trying to get away. Several tank destroyers right now in the center. Anti-tank guns firing. And looks like the Pumas can't make the escape. The M10 moves in, the closest in on the hunt. The Wolverine closes in on the Cat. And will it succeed? And looks like Rommelslayer almost has a Tiger. Jolly good. M10 getting out of there as the Geschützwagen closes in. Will the M10 try to close in for the kill? It could do that, in fact, if it has speed with it. Oh dear, it's trying to face off against it. Oh, wait. The Geschützwagen misses again. This could be it. And interestingly enough, he hasn't gone for further veterancy for his armor. Disgraceful. Looks like another grenadier assault in the north has cleared out things again, and looks like, yes indeed, perhaps he did flank in from the south, because I'm not seeing any Panzer Rex. And the anti-tank guns were pointing, well, for the most part, in the wrong direction, so I'd say that probably was it. Well, I know it was because I saw it. in the replay, but I sort of forgot what it was. My apologies, but let's go have a look at MyMartin again. Looks like the forces of the 21st Panzer Division are securing more and more. Sherman finding itself faced with an Ostwind. That's not going to do much. Nor will the other Ostwind, but if he moves that Panzer IV up, he might have a bit more success. In fact, the Ostwind got cleared out by the Sherman. A bit unfortunate, but Panschreck opens up. Sniper's advancing on the Grenadiers, but Sniper gets killed by... Oh, that was a bit silly. Will the Grenadiers make it out, or will they get sniped? Apparently they made it out, and a V1 going in somewhere. Wherever shall that V1 be? M10's advancing, opening up against an Ostwind, but they're ignoring the Panzer IV bar move there, mate. Some might as a German Reich will knock you out, silly Panzerjäger. But then a Sherman decides to be cheeky and rush into the rescue, ready to save its bodies from the tank destroyer battalion. Meanwhile, the Panzer IV then decides to deal with that stupid Sherman, and there we go. The Sherman is already finding himself in a slightly unfortunate situation. And airborne, though, moving in. The Panzer IV again gets one upped. My goodness. But then Grenadiers move in, also with recoilless rifles. That's a bit too canny. And looks like... And a strafing round pinning down the Grenadiers, even killing one. Forcing them away. And the Panzer IV tries to get away, which it seems to be successfully doing. In the meanwhile, armored cars are roaming the center as well as a Geschützwagen. Possibly even 2 Geschützwagen. Still no further veterancy for them, though. Seems a bit silly. And a Tiger has arrived. Tiger 1. From what schwere Panzerabteilung, I can't say. As the Germans at their system. I don't know which one could have perhaps served there. I did know that they did have some they did have some Yak Panthers and some even more rarer Yak Tigers there, but I don't know about Tigers or King Tigers actually. Of course, the King Yak Tigers didn't actually manage much, and in fact there's a picture one with, well, sort of a picture one, and there goes the armored cars though to the recoilless rifles. Doesn't look like those airborne will make it, but sort of the picture sort of shows, well, the remains of a Yak Tiger after it sort of got flanked by a M36 Jackson, or aka the Slugger, which fired through the side and set off the munitions, which rather caused the entire Yak Tiger to explode, leaving behind, well, very little. I mean, the Yak Tiger did have some impressive armor and an impressive gun. The trouble was, it couldn't really pull it, and there was really no need for that large of a gun. That was also one of the problems with it. The gun was simply too much. I mean, there were naval guns that were smaller than that. It's a bit of a waste in my opinion. But the Tiger's there, ready to support the fatherland with a bit of support from some flak Panzer and Geschützwagens. Stormtroopers holding the line, and the airborne runs straight into a Nebelwerfer barrage. Quite unfortunate, and are forced to retreat right away. Oh dearie me, whatever shall we do? The Americans say. Well, looks like the 21st Panzer Division is getting stronger and stronger. Looks like Britishking is now going for Schwimmwagens, but still, so bloody lootly no infantry.
We have 300 points left.
And Prisoners has quite a few tank destroyers. Nothing that can really deal with infantry at this stage, which is rather unfortunate. And will those tank destroyers actually be able to achieve anything? That, of course, is another good question. Oh, so very quiet. Let us not speed things up. And there we go. Grenadiers moving in, forcing away the Sherman. Another Sherman apparently has arrived. MyMartin now going for several ones. This could actually work. Opening up on the Grenadiers, but they need to turn around. Turn around, mates. Do not expose your rear armor. Doing quite a bit of damage to the Grenadiers, though. But still, turn about, mates. But the Tiger arrives, and the Sherman still has the rear exposed. Then they finally turn about, eh? Stupid.
Enemy unit down.
There we go. Grenadier team cut down by the Shermans most heroically. Grenadier team number 2 retreating. Recoil is rough drop. The airborne could pick it up. Try to do as much damage to the Tiger. Anti-tank guns being rushed down. And a bombing run right down on the Nebelwerfers. Only hitting one though. Not entirely sure that was worth all that munitions. Tiger doing what it can. Anti-tank guns turning them out and opening up on the Tiger. Tiger pulling away. And looks like a large engineer force with some major snipers on the way. And now the tanks destroyers are moving to 8 right down there instead of perhaps we know when the Tiger could have been gotten. Seems to be a bit again a sort of, I sense the lack of proper communications between the two. Geschützwagen is now moving in though to support the Tiger. There's better communication on the exercise, that's at least something. Tank destroyers moving in from all sides against and knocking it out. Will they be able to get the drop on the Geschützwagen as well, who has finally gotten veterancy 2? And looks like a drop bombing run could be on the way. Knocking out one Geschützwagen. Heavy losses for the 21st Panzer Division. A Tiger knocked out. And looks like 2 Geschützwagens could be lost as well. Pioneers advancing to repair, but the Geschützwagen blows up crew everywhere. Oh dear. But then the M10s sort of slow down and get blown to bits. Looks like it might be by this Geschützwagen. Has to be careful. And a Panzer IV advances. And another Tiger has arrived. The M10s need to get out of there, but they've ended in a situation where they can't. Knocked out. Did the mortar actually do it? No, it wasn't. And the other M10 cleared up. This is now really looking bad after what could have been a good move. They then sort of threw it away, at least prisoners did, by not getting the devil out of there. Grenadiers and stormtroopers advancing through the wrecks of the M10s, past the wrecked Tiger as well. Sherman's getting ready, moving southwards. M10 driving away. The 21st on the warpath. Stormtroopers advancing. 12 kills to their name. And the Shermans drive by the Panzer IV. Then they stop up and actually get hit by the Nebelwerfer. Incredible. And will the Tiger move about? Apparently not. And looks like this Sherman is taking quite a bit of a damage from the Geschützwagens. Anti-tank gun drops in. Tiger being very, very laid back, sort of, oh dear. And another bombing run clearing out the Panzer IV. M10 charges in right into the Wolf's lair and gets blown to bits. Grenadiers, Panzer Grenadiers, oh, stormtroopers right in front of the Germans getting slaughtered. That seems quite wasteful. Tiger still not moving in. Why is that Tiger holding back? There's absolutely no need for it. It's a Tiger, damn it. Not a Hotchkiss. There's a difference, trust me. I'm a professional. Ostwind getting repaired. Airborne advancing. And it is. And the Tiger opens up on the airborne but misses. Anti-tank gun opens up and the anti-tank gun then gets Nebelwerft. And the airborne are simply getting slaughtered, knocked out, killed, massacred, deaded. And let's go have a look at Rommelslayer at this stage. We are going for manpower blitz, calling in a Stu 42. No further veterancy, and he's also getting a Panther. Jolly good, jolly good. Although I'm not sure I'm on the Panthers, the 21st Panzer Division, whatever, at this stage of the war. Although probably some still. And looks like a large force is moving in to kill the Tiger. Will they have success? Tank destroyer out of control. Being behind only the Shermans to deal with the Tiger. Panzer Rex also moving in. Shermans will need to retreat, but they're having trouble. There's armor blocking their path away. And they're getting hit in the rear. Oh, the Geschützwagen. German knocked out. Looks like the 30th Infantry Division's armor units will be absolutely depleted after this fight. More tank destroyers in the south, and MyMartin running away in terror, in fear, crying all the way. Perhaps, well, I'm just sort of imagining that. Another M10 knocked out. The tank destroyer unit will certainly also be utterly depleted for some time for the American 30th Infantry Division. Will this one make it out of there? Who knows? But the Geschützwagen moves in for the kill. Tiger facing off against an anti... No, that's a Panther. Panther facing off against the anti-tank gun. And another sort of finding himself surrounded with nothing really much to do.
Americans are seizing territory from us.
But Prisoners apparently feels confident in victory for Uncle Sam's as of still. M10 charging right at these Grenadiers, knocking one out right away, perhaps hoping to squish some others. And the Panther actually faced off against the anti-tank gun instead of just driving up and behind it. Incredible. That seems wasteful. German move about, clearing out the mortar. That wasn't a bad idea. Panther retreating for repairs, but the Tiger is first in line. Tank destroyers advancing. Panzer IV arriving with nice armored skirts. Sherman facing off against the Geschützwagen, but it's facing in the sort of wrong direction. Isn't even trying to flank it. I mean, that would be the easiest thing, to just flank it and the Geschützwagen will be helpless. Another Geschützwagen moving in. This will probably be the end for that German. And there we go. Another German dead, down, gone forever. And the Panzer is finally getting repaired now. Hooray, huzzah, and all that. And all very quiet at the moment as the remains of the Allied... Wait, there we go. Prisoners also retreating, and there we go. A victory for the 21st Panzer Division in the ruins of Lorraine. For now, that is at least. So, of course... What can we learn from this? Well, I mean, I think one of the main problems here on the Allied side was pretty much communication. That was, on the other hand, what the chaps on the Axis side actually did well. They sort of communicated what doctrines, what sort of things they were going for, what could, and sort of leaving it up to their opponents to sort of help. And of course, in some cases, even saying, well, hey, could you help me with that? I'm sending down some units to help you. Sort of good communication, very helpful, and of course, they certainly didn't stumble into each other's doctrines either. Very good. On the other hand, the Allies sort of both went for airborne, sort of threw abilities away when they probably even shouldn't have. And there was also probably problems in sort of coordinating attacks and such, so rather some problems. Also, not a lot of mines being used, if at all, by either side, and not very good. I mean, generally use mines a bit more, that will certainly always help you. Not a lot about why. There was a nice, interesting bit right here in the start, but then it sort of fell apart again. I mean, really, MyMartin was a bit too quick also to sort of drop the artillery, and not get enough infantry either, and that sort of also applies to sort of Britishking. Anyhow, so there you go. I hope you enjoyed this fight. If you did, why not subscribe, tell your friends, and if you didn't, well, why not send in a replay of your own. This is Imperial Dane saying cheers.